Hey, so it's Christy or the Vina Astrolabe or the armchair metaphysicist. It's on a Sunday morning. I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. So obviously, I am not going for a glamour look today. These are my helium balloons that are slowly losing their helium. Okay. So, per the topics, I just had my weekly conversation with my cousin, Matthew Temple. He gave me permission to use his name. Hey, if you see this, we talk every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock my time. And I usually end up getting super juiced up by my conversation with him. I also want to point out that I take cannabis medicinally, or not medicinally, what am I saying? Sorry. I take cannabis uh, to enhance my intuitive stuff as well as um, some for recreation, but actually, it's usually to be really open to my own intention setting. So I'm using it now. That's why I wanted to put that out there in case anybody thinks I'm acting different. I can't tell, and my partner Evan tells me that he can't tell. So there you go. I just in my internal landscape just becomes sometimes. I mean, I can recreate this as well without it, but or not recreate it, but ah, feel expansive. Anyway, so we were talking, and one of the things we were talking about was the language. And I was saying that I wish I had more appropriate language for how I feel, like kind of this spiritual awakening or Kundalini rising or whatever. And I realized I just want to call it, I just feel awake. That more and more often I'm able to tune in to the understanding that I have, which is that I am part of a much greater whole. Same kind of message that a lot of people have stated throughout time and history in a bunch of different ways of just wake up, that what you see is not actually really what you get, and recognizing it in a bunch of different ways of phrasing it. The way that I realize I kind of resonate to it is in the physics language of the day in a very kind of quantum way, but of seeing it just makes panpsychism makes so much sense to me, that the base or a base element to the universe in which we find ourselves, which has just this crazy tiny right, just the math had to be just right for us to exist universe, that consciousness is at the base of it. And so by recognizing, oh, I I am awake. I am a self-aware identity. I am a facet of a grand intelligence, call it whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But that by recognizing I'm part of that means I now control the narrative around me. And I can choose that infinitely, but I'm going to go on autopilot a lot because that's what my brain wants to do, right? So it's that push and pull of, am I driving? I'm on auto. I'm driving auto, which to me conveniently looks like the both and of a wave function. So again, the very base unit of our universe, right? The wave function. So now I'm already off into physics, but mostly I was talking about this and saying, and he said, that sounds like a very powerful message. And I think, well, it's just a different spin on this message that's been coming and coming and coming, I guess, since the first time somebody said, hey, I'm awake. Do you want to be awake? Do you want to like not be a slave to just thinking you can't own any of it? And so it hopefully is a really empowering message. And that's really all this is, I realize. And that's why I'm realizing I don't need to like shout it from a mountaintop, but I kind of want to, because and that's also why I continue to work at a very 3D job, right? I'm a medical biller, but I continue to do that, and I'm not branding myself and going to have the Venus, I don't know, channel of doing stuff. Although I'm looking down because I am going to draw an oracle card and a tarot card for our little community of two, maybe three. And because Minka, I know you've just been going through such difficult stuff, and so I wanted you to know that all this energy of me and my cousin and you, and we're want you to feel better very, very soon. And I just sending lots of love your way. Um, So that message of being awake, not new to me. But that ultimately, I think, is the message, and that the more you practice it, and this draws on what other people say when they have, say, psychedelics, or they're in meditation, or they're wherever, um, is just the ease of the seeing that, of being that expansive, of yes, I can actually hold the great mysteries of the universe within myself, being star stuff, as Carl Sagan says. And I can be vain and be like, "Yeah, and I really like the red in my hair, and I really do not like the pudge I have from being in perimenopause, and, oh, right, yeah, I'm a human right now. Huh." And just kind of being able to be both the observer and the observed, right? Just but being able to drive more, I think, allows us to have a smoother experience as a human, right? The more you get to drive, um, until I guess we get to the next level, and maybe 12D or FI grid means we get to be in a car that is being driven by the AI that's not going to get in an accident. Maybe that's what that means, of like drawing on your galactic heritage means you get to realize, like, oh, I can even get out of my way even more and just totally be in my dharma all the time, and that will be great. And to be honest, that's where I feel like I am now, and I feel like, but I haven't done nearly enough work, and it's only been a few months, but then that's the universe in which I find myself, and I don't want to break physics. So it seems if that's how I feel I'm experiencing it, then great, that means I am. So cards. Oh, that reminded me, I had something else too. So this is the Soul Space Oracle. I have no idea if that's going to be reversed or not. I don't know if you're going to get a mirror or right way. And this is live, so it won't be edited because I don't care enough. All right, so this is going to be, I think, just theme for the week. Theme for the week for the collective is patience. Oh, I've never drawn that one. I'll go put that on my altar. Well, so enjoy that. And then I have my Whispering Spirits tarot. I just love these. They are so, so cute. So I'll just do the same, just a card draw for theme for the week. I love having a couple of concepts or themes for the week. For me, actually, it's going to be writing this story. I'm writing Ron Draco fan fiction again, which is kind of nuts. But the whole story has just come. I mean, I've got dialogue going. I even dreamt about it last night. So that obviously is something I need to get out of me. And Ace of Swords. Oh, so we have a little spirit with a crown on his swords, and it looks like he has little attendants, and he's on a cloud. So I think that's probably a good one. I don't interpret very well. That's not my skill set. I am no This is not my wheelhouse. But I liked the cards. Oh, that's the one. That's ace. Truth, clarity, objectivity. All right. So this spirit is starting their ascent, sword held high, as they experience a new level understanding that fuels their heart, mind, and soul, inspiring and empowering them to harness their power and utilize it to bring them success. That's exactly how I feel. So I share this with you so you too can feel like this. That's great. So, yeah, blunt and fresh view. I'll put that on my altar too. Pardon me. Froggy, I think from going running outside in the cold on Friday. I can do this later. I had one other thing I wanted to bring over from my altar because I had talked to the massage therapist who's also an astrologer who also is, I just, I was super ascendant the entire time she was, pardon me, working on me. And just, I felt like I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but ascended like dozens of levels just by talking through all this stuff and being in her energy and focus. just our focus one on one. It was kind of like being, well, I guess kind of like going, I guess I've never gone to a psychic, but I guess it would be kind of like how I felt paid for a I pay other people to interpret for me because I'm like, I'm not good at that. So I paid for, I wasn't sure what it would be. It ended up being a reading from Ashtara, and like plugging into that and just knowing that I was her full attention, like before it, for her to gather her stuff together and then whatever she got. And I was like, wow, no wonder it feels so powerful. Anyway, I told the massage therapist because she was asking about when this kind of stuff started really happening. And then actually, I realized Matthew asked me that this morning as well. And I was thinking, I mean, it really did start. It's my little buddy when I was at the sanctuary. Um, but one of the first things that I was quite powerful is I've been listening to a podcast of somebody about ritual, and I had found these from the little store, and they're vintage. And I had written and on it to my lineage line, I was like, just take me. I just literally put myself on their altar. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I didn't really fully realize what that could entail. And perhaps that was best. But I've had this other set of phrases come to me, which be with me, be in me, be of me. And I have found that to be um, just a powerful mantra of that higher self. Be with me, be in me, be of me. Let me channel that. Let me be in my dharma. Let me get out of my way. Let me be, and let me be at peace as I am being. So I was wanting to put that put that intention back on my altar quite powerfully and into intent with intention. And I did that yesterday. And then my dreams, oh, have just been super, super potent. And I do tend to open myself up at night and say, let me, whatever I can be doing on the astral or the whatever that collective energy is that I can tune into in some other state where my neurons are firing, they're doing something. So who's to say that I'm not electrically or energetically interacting with somebody else's environment? I don't know. I do know I have had very vivid dreams that I remember since I was very, very young. That's just a constant part of my landscape, and I would feel bereft if I didn't have it. All right, that went way off topic. So there's that. I think those were the topics. Gosh, so the message should be, or should, whoa, no. The message seems to be an empowering one. And I believe that's the intention, is that by recognizing you can be awake and drive the reality in which you find yourself is an empowering feeling, hopefully, not a disempowering one. But there can be a lot of fear around it, I think. And I'm not perfect. I'm no Buddha. I'm back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But what I was telling Matthew this morning is that I feel with more practice, I have the ability to control it more and more, which makes the process of living as a human being smoother. And I really like how that feels. I really like a smooth drive as a human. I have been hobbling myself for nearly 20 years. And I'm recognizing this is what it feels like to not have any albatrosses around my neck. I'm not hobbling myself by an alcohol use disorder. And that is going to make all the difference because now I'm free to do all these cool things. Pardon me. So the only other thing I'm going to talk about is I have this concept that somebody else who is an actual physicist probably has come up with and hopefully is working on the math. And maybe that is this seraphic math that I keep talking about that just feels like it's some kind of quantum math language thing to cross. Oh my God. Well, to be a literal bridge between heaven and earth, between the quantum physics world and the universal physics world in which we find ourselves. We really do have to account for both. So I had this thought and I wrote it down in my journal as though I was channeling it because it really felt like I was in the bathroom curling my hair and I got this thing. It was like, go write it down. I'm like, fine, I'll go write it down. And it was that, and this is all physics stuff. So tune out now if you weren't interested in that. But gravity waves, the things that happen when big stars go explodey, and they're literal waves, kind of like, I mean, the visual that we get is like ripples throughout the universe. So you're talking at the universal scale. That's pretty big. That's as big as we got, right? Is that the universe data set of one in which we find ourselves that we can't compare to anything else. So, of course, the caveat we could be in the matrix. Actually, we've got to be, whatever it is the one thing in which we find ourselves. We are always going to be a data set of one. I think physics says we are a data set of one. So we kind of have to get over that and think that there's going to be something else we can actually compare to. Maybe I should tell that to a physicist. They probably already know that. I don't know if that's that heartbreaking or not. Anyway, I digress. uh, the physics thing. So gravity waves, and they really want a theory of quantum gravity. Like, well, what if quantum gravity is that base element of consciousness or something? Maybe whatever that equivalent boson thing, that one is consciousness somehow, or blah blah blah, or that's the tiny manifestation of the universal consciousness at large, manifested universally as a gravity wave. And then in the tiny part, here's where it gets good, is the vibrating string of string theory, right? Just at two different scales. Anyway, I am going to put that in front of a physicist, and hope that it else who actually is schooled in this can provide that seraphic math to provide us the bridge between the two levels of physics. Maybe that's the message. Maybe that's kind of the woo message that I'm supposed to bring. I sure seem to watch a bunch of PBS space time, and especially when I have set an intention and I have the open expansiveness of the cannabis and definitely psychedelics, and I keep bringing them up and I keep not going reaching out to my lovely person who can provide me with some psilocybin. I will do that. If I keep getting that message, I need to actually take action on it. I think I've been a bit worried because I've been thinking, oh, what if it's just a huge message and I'm not ready for it? And then I think that's the part of you that's the human that just snatched the wheel back and wanted to go straight into fear. Nope. The message is there. Heed the message. It's the the ones that have been the poorer message of, hey, let's just drink it all so we don't feel anything at all because whatever. Or I don't know. It's confusing to me now, I realize, because I just feel so different. Oh, anyway, so I'm now going to stop because, wow, that's almost 20 minutes. But thanks for listening. I hope for anyone who does listen to this that you find it uh, empowering, and that you think, oh, some of this makes sense, and that perhaps some of the ways that I've been thinking or feeling that don't seem to be a message that I hear a whole lot in social media, that is probably true. I don't participate in a lot of social media, although the irony of me doing this is not lost on me. It's the world in which I find myself, and it's easiest. So, at another point, I'll talk about binaries, and the multidimensional concept of a binary data point, or sorry, um, base base item of information. That's what I meant. That's woo for another time. All right, love you, and yeah, just I'll do my hand things, which I don't know what that is, but let me send all of that to you, and I'll be back sometime. Love you. We